Nowadays, common sense ain't so common, and here for our daily dose of reality is Patrick Dorinson, the common sense cowboy. Patrick, all right, there is a lot where I want to talk to you real quick about the devastation in Florida still being assessed, not too early to assess. That Ron Desantis really he's rose to the occasion, but he's still got a long way to go. Do you think this helps or could potentially hurt him for 24?
Well, I think this could potentially do both. I mean, think about it. He's now been handed a situation that's a natural disaster. It's not something you can plan for as far as how bad it can get. However, I guarantee you, the day he got sworn in as governor, he ordered his people to start to prepare for something like this. Look how much they had in place. They had all the linemen in place. They had all the kinds of emergency supplies in place. They did everything they can. Now, having said that, now it's going to be a question of how does he lead Florida forward? And this is going to be one of two things. Either he's going to be able to rise to that challenge and he will make the new Florida and make it even better than it was before, which is, I think, what he can do. Or, he'll stumble and he'll fall into political traps that his political enemies will set for him.
Yeah.
This is the kind of thing that's going to reveal what kind of a leader Ron DeSantis is going to be, whether or not he runs in 24 or 28 or whenever.
Yeah, well, Italy, new election, and the prime minister there has rattled the globalist agenda. And she has basically come out and said, like, we're done with this. It's not working. What do you make of it?
God, family, country. Boy, what a great motto instead of globalism and, kumbaya. I think this is great. This means that the nationalist movement across the world is gaining steam. Donald Trump talked about America first. He talked about, make America great again. She's basically saying make Italy great again and stop being ruled by a bunch of bureaucrats in Brussels. Hungary is another country that is, saying we're going to protect our borders. We're going to make sure that God and family are important. Sweden just elected a conservative government. To me, the guys in Brussels ought to be shaking in their boots because guess what? People are finally standing up and saying no to this globalist BS.
Do you think they leave the EU?
I think they might. I just think they might, and they might start an exodus that actually crushes the EU and makes it as useless as a one-legged man in a butt-kicking contest.
It's always something with you, Patrick. I think things continue to get pretty brutal for Americans here. Stocks taking a total beating. Inflation shows no sign of slowing. I mean, how bad can we get? I mean, this is the greatest comparison between conservative Donald Trump and Joe Biden, far liberal. I mean, do they even stand a chance in the next 50 years worth of elections?
Well, I would hope not. I'm old enough to remember the Carter years, and they weren't fun at all. I mean, interest rates were 18%. You had unemployment at 12%. Things were horrible back then. Now, we haven't gotten to that point as far as those numbers go, but we're at that point in other ways. Will Rogers once said there's only two things that can disrupt the American economy. One is a war, and the second is a meeting of the Federal Reserve. Well, we got a war over in Ukraine, and every time the Federal Reserve meets, things seem to get worse. So I don't know. I mean, I think that the Democrats should have this hung around their neck. I wish the Republicans were a little more aggressive and we didn't have that turtle man running the campaign for the U.S. Senate for the GOP. But that's what we got. And they have to realize that once they get in, they've got to be tough and they've got to start putting forward plans that are going to change the trajectory of this country. If they don't, then it just proves that the swamp is nothing but a bunch of Republicans and the Democrats going to cocktail parties in Georgetown.
Yeah, that seems to be the general form of discussion. Real quick, Pat, we have a ruling class right now in D.C., many of which they don't have calluses on their hands. They've never held a shovel. They have never, had to do the chores themselves. What do you make of the fact that we keep electing these people?
Well, that's on us. I mean, folks, either we're going to start to say, let's get some people in office who maybe went to a land grant university like, University of Kansas or University of Minnesota and stop putting people in office who went to Harvard and Yale. They think there are betters, and they don't have any idea, as you said, what the business end of a shovel is. So I think we need more practical people coming in, people that have owned small businesses, the real people. And maybe one of the ways to do that is maybe we should have some term limits so that these guys can't sit in Washington all this time and then as soon as they leave government, go become lobbyists.
Right. Proving that there is a difference between education and intelligence. Patrick Dorinson, we appreciate you being here, sir.